Malice Mizer.
Hello everyone. In this probably extremely long video I will be explaining the new and improved Malice Mizer Iceberg made by Moss at MossyBossyWossy on Twitter. You might have already seen a work in progress version of this iceberg, but Moss actually went ahead and finished it for this video and he helped me out with a few of the entries, so absolutely massive thank you to him. The iceberg includes a few entries from the first Malice Mizer iceberg made by @HoneyVanity on Twitter, which I made my first iceberg video on. It is not necessary for you to watch any of my previous iceberg videos before this one. Whenever there's an entry that was also in the first Malice Mizer iceberg, or my Mana iceberg, or Emmy's Gacked iceberg, I'll repeat what I said in my previous videos, in a few cases adding some additional details. Throughout the video, a few notable people from the Malice Mizer community will make appearances, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, thank you to Haitani for supporting me on Patreon, and let's get into the video. Some of the most memorable Malice Mizer interview moments come from the TV show Hot Wave. The band had appeared on it multiple times throughout the career, and the interviews were full of the band members' classic trolling. This is also where the two clips of Mana speaking are from. Gacked started his YouTube channel in 2019. He makes a wide variety of content, including song covers, cooking videos, workout videos, gaming videos, and much more. After Malice Mizer post activities, in 2002 Mana started a symphonic metal band Moi Moi. Mana composes all of Moi Moi's music and lyrics, arranges, produces and designs the stage costumes, and also acts as an overall artistic director. In contrast to Malice Mizer, Moi is explicitly built as Mana's solo project. While the project members have input during the performance and recording of the music, Mana essentially determines the band's artistic direction on his own. Gacked has appeared pretty much anywhere you can think of. Music, movies, TV commercials, all kinds of businesses, you name it, he's done it. By the way, can you imagine how the other Malice Mizer members must have felt? Imagine you have a guy ditch your band and then he becomes a nationwide sensation and you just keep seeing him everywhere you look.
Up next is weather, Mr. Gacto?
明日は全国的に雨をなめる。雨をなめる。
Hey, Mr. Gacto?
雨をな
Are
め
you
る。
alright?
周りのドアなめる。今のドアめ。
Mr.
雨をなめる。
Gacto?
夕飯に書くと。
No, Mr.
I made an entire 20-minute long video on the topic of why Gacked left the band, and if you're interested, I encourage you to give it a watch. But to keep it short, there must have been some kind of disagreement between him and the other members. The exact reasons for why he left the band aren't publicly known. There's little to no information about this, and over the years Malice Mizer members and Gacked gave conflicting reports about how it all went down. In my Mana iceberg I already talked about how Mana always wore blue clothes because he has a quiet personality, and Kasey wore red clothes because he has a loud personality. But actually all Malice Mizer members were color coordinating. Yuki wore either orange or yellow, Kami wore pink or purple, and Gacked wore either black or white. Started by Mana in 1999, Muame Moiti is a Japanese fashion brand focusing on Gothic Lolita clothing. It is credited with helping popularize the Gothic Lolita fashion movement. It features two lines of designs named Elegant Gothic Lolita and Elegant Gothic Aristocrat. I made a whole video on this as well. Klacha, Malice Mizer's last vocalist, started a solo career a year after the band went on a hiatus. After a live appearance in April 2004, Klacha's releases and performances stopped without explanation. In 2007 he stated on his website that he will be returning that year, but nothing happened. It is presumed that Klacha has permanently retired from public life. Apparently Klacha is a very shy person and struggled to stay confident during his solo career. Mana reportedly tried reaching out to Klacha on multiple occasions but didn't manage to find a way of contacting him. In a Hot Wave interview from the Beast of Blood era broadcasted on October 11, 2001, you can see Mana getting really close to breaking character and laughing as a reaction to something Kasey said.
コウジ君はごめんなさい。
あ、ゆうきくんですか。
まあ自分でやってたからさっきまでね。
ゆうきくんはですね、そうですね。マナちゃんかな。
まあじゃあ
マナちゃんになってね、こう拝み倒されたいこう。マナ様。
Unfortunately, the camera fades to black before we can see him recover. Mana's first ever public laugh, or rather a laughful exhale, happened 20 years later while he was playing some game with Modimua's second guitarist Ryux. It seems like the only people that can make Mana laugh are guitarists.
はい。
Kami, the drummer of Malice Mizer, loved butterflies. He had 3 butterfly tattoos and also appeared with butterfly wings and butterflies covering his mouth in the music video for Au Revoir. The album cover of Malice Mizer's Shinwa EP, dedicated to Kami, depicts a blue morpho butterfly. In the classic Hot Wave interview, Mana is asked where he's from. Speaking through Gagged, he responds that he's from France.
こんにちは。マナさん、こんにちは。
喋れないですよ。
喋れないですか。
通訳しますので。
あ、マナさんはどちらの国からいらしたんですか。
フランスだそうです。
フランス。Parlez-vous français？
こんにちはだそうです。
ああ、どうも。すごい。
Later on, in 1998, Kami would say that all of them are French.
悪意。
ミゼルは
悲劇。
散々ですね。フランス語でそういう意味なんですか、マリス・ミゼル。ウィ。
僕たちフランス生まれなんで。
あ、それでウィってなんですか。
酔ってるわけじゃないですから。Monsieur,
Mana is notable for never speaking in public. He speaks normally in printed interviews, but in filmed interviews he whispers into the ear of a band member or confidant who then relates his words back to the interviewer. He has also been known to simply look at the camera as subtitles appear, as well as using yes or no cards and expressing himself in mime. Malice Mizer had mentioned being more than 100 years old vampires on multiple occasions. Gagged is the most notable for this. He claimed to have been born in 1540, however in 2009 he revealed his year of birth to be 1973. Visual kei, which can be translated to visual style, is a Japanese subculture started in the 1980s by bands such as Backtick and X-Japan, inspired by Western hair metal bands. Malice Mizer is considered to be one of the most influential visual kei bands. They were pretty much the definition of what visual kei is all about, with their elaborate costumes and live shows. Also, with Malice Mizer's rise in popularity, there was an increase of cross-dressing among members of Japanese bands. Kamui Gakupo is a Japanese Vocaloid, which is a singing voice synthesizer, distributed as Gakpoid, initially released in July 2008. His voice is provided by Gagged. After its release, a contest was held on streaming site Nico Nico. The two best original Gakpoid song creations would be released as a single with the real Gekt on vocals. The track Episode.0 was selected by Gekt as the winner, with Paranoid Doll as the runner-up. During his time as the Malice Mizer vocalist, Gekt also played the piano on several tracks, while Mana played the synthesizer. This is how they're credited in the Au Revoir music video, for example. He would also appear playing piano at concerts. There were two TV interviews in which Mana has spoken. In a 1996 Hot Wave interview, he introduced himself by saying his name and that he plays guitar. Then in a 1998 interview, he said that his eyes are dry.
ギターのマナさん。じゃあトークの方これで OK になりますので、あと歌のスタンバイしますんでちょっとお待ちください。絵が可愛いところですね。
Meaty.net is a record label previously owned by Mana, established to manage Malice Mizer releases. Several other artists had released their music via Meaty.net, such as Kanon Wakeshima, Schwarzstein and Manas Młody Mła. In the 2010s, Yuki Ito, who you might recall from my Mana Iceberg video as the woman rumored to be in a relationship with Mana, was credited as the owner of the label. Back in the day, there was quite a big amount of fan service at Malice Mizer concerts, especially between Gekt and Mana. And I kid you not, I actually found an academic text by Miranda Ruth Larsen, a PhD candidate at the University of Tokyo, which specifically singles out the interaction between Gekt and Mana, quote, "Well before Gekt's wholesale adoption of social media to curate an identity and continuing into the present, fans have looked to fan service for narrative material. In the Malice Mizer era, Gekt became known for his sexually charged fan service, particularly in his interactions with bassist Mana." Bassist? Many people instinctively pronounce the band name incorrectly, as Malice Mizer. This includes Pretty Boy Gekt himself, as he anglicizes it while speaking English, probably because he does the same thing with his stage name. And regrettably, this is the pronunciation which I had used in my first few Malice Mizer related videos. I sincerely apologize for it to all Malice Mizer fans who had to suffer from the consequences of my actions, and I hope that one day you can forgive me for my past mistakes. The correct pronunciation of the band's name, which is also used by the band members themselves, is Malice Mizer, as it's a combination of words malice and misery. During the Merveille era, Malice Mizer members took part in a TV show in which they had to redecorate the house of one of their fans. They did a pretty interesting job at it, and also did makeup to the residents and made them wear costumes of an Egyptian pharaoh, Dracula and a witch. You can find the two-part recording of it on YouTube. Gekt is pretty well known for acting weird in interviews and often trolling the interviewers. And this is something he did all the way back in Malice Mizer.
ガクトさんとかね、いかがですか？こんな感じでいつも歩いてるんですか？
そうですね。
そうなんですか。
ブラブラと。
ブラブラとこういう羽をつけて。
そうです。これ地毛なんです。
地毛なんですか。毛深い方ですね。
そうですね。結構ね。
毛深い。で、お隣、ガクちゃん、これなしでは生きていけないもの。
肌に透明感のある綺麗な女の人。
In a 2021 interview with YouTuber The Anime Man, when asked about his fellow ex-members of Malice Mizer, Loverboy Gekt started pretending that all the members except him had passed away. It's obviously supposed to be a joke, kinda weird considering that one of them is, in fact, pretty much literally dead. Some people look for a deeper meaning behind this, like maybe Gekt meant that he's the only member that made it big. But I think it's just your usual case of Gekt being Gekt.
Malice Mizer, the members, they were great guys, wonderful, talented. I really miss them. Actually, I mourn their passing. They made a rest in peace, and from the bottom of my heart.
Wait. Let's back up for a second here. You were in a band called Malice Mizer with how many members were there?
I don't know, 6 or 7.
You don't remember how many people were in your band?
No.
Well then let's just say 6 or 7. And including you, how many are still alive?
Only me, right?
They're still alive.
Oh, really? I heard they passed away.
I don't know. I think the last time I checked the Wikipedia, they were still alive.
Really?
Yeah. I think you should contact your buddies. Just make sure they're okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a little worrying.
Oh, okay. Next question.
Nuclear Romance was a band that Kami was a part of before joining Malice Mizer in March 1993. The band actually exchanged their drummers, with Malice Mizer's original drummer Guess replacing Kami in Nuclear Romance. Despite Malice Mizer members stating in interviews that they can speak French, none of them actually did at the time. As of now, the only Malice Mizer member that actually knows French is Lady Killer Gecht.
오늘 사슴은 오페거든. 주치의 흡입 단산지거든. 세트 후배니 지금.
久しぶりね。待ってたのよ。
금마탄지. 부고. 부담고. 준비 작업보다 더 기억 좋았어.
これ覚えてる？
조만간 학과에 지르 파브리키 어떠고.
すごく嬉しかったわ。
에피. 제고도 후배. 엄마서 배우다.
In an interview for M Gazette Volume 21, Mana is quoted saying, "I'm the youngest in Malice Mizer. At first glance, I'm the leader, so I have to put on an act, and because of that, it seems like I'm the oldest." This obviously led to many people believing that Mana was in fact the youngest member of the band. However, in December 2005, this turned out to be a lie when Tetsu made a blog post talking about Malice Mizer in which he mentioned being the same age as Kasey and the other members being senior to them. This means that Mana was actually either the oldest or the second oldest member of Malice Mizer. The Moi Memoity official YouTube channel sometimes uploads videos of Chef Mana's elegant gothic cooking, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Some of the videos are subbed with Mana's commentary in English. Mana enjoys cooking books and shows, and he even expressed interest in competing in a cooking challenge. Surprisingly, in one of the interviews, Mana claims to not be fond of French cuisine. This is kind of a last-minute entry from me, but I just wanted to take a moment to shout out someone who I would consider an old friend of the channel, and that will be Sakuga Asu. I collaborated with her for my backtake video, and I would like to direct your attention to her English covers of Malice Mizer songs. She has made covers of Au Revoir, Gekka no Yosukyoku, Ma Chérie, Bel Air and Again. She has also covered X-Japan, Backtake and Larkin Seal. Please go check out her covers, they are very cool and you can tell she puts a lot of effort into them. There is a running joke in the Malice Mizer fanbase that Mana steals souls of the people that listen to his music. Malice Mizer was founded in August 1992 by Mana and Kasey after they departed from their previous band, Matenro. As you have probably noticed by now, members of the band were frequently joking around in their interviews.
ドキッとしますけど、ほんじゃ、ゆうきさん、はい、マイク持ってたんですね。マイク持ってたんですね。はい。いいですね。はい。ゆうきさん。喫茶店。
ゆうきさん好きな食べ物は？
生温かい。血ですかね。
そうくる。本当にドラキュラみたいな感じ。
For his solo career, Klaha took on a much lighter image and wrote pop music with a sentimental and nostalgic feel to it. He released 2 singles and a mini-album. He also expressed a want to make more Malice Mizer-like songs, but that didn't happen. Tanbi Kei, which translates to aesthetical style, is a sub-style of visual kei that focuses on elaborate costumes inspired by European cultures. Malice Mizer are often credited as the pioneers of this style. What I think this is referring to are photos of Mana vibing with his nephew called Michan. This is an electronic rock band founded in 2012 by Kasey. As of 2024 they have released 4 full-length albums. There is a photo of Malice Mizer members posing with their van after it had apparently crashed. Since we know that Mana used to drive the van, it's likely that he's the one that had it crashed. In a questionnaire in the winter 1997 edition of Malice Mizer's fan club magazine, the band members were asked questions about their ideal woman. When asked, "What do you look at first when you see a woman?" Kami responded he looks at her legs and breasts. When asked about what type of breast he likes, he said the bigger the better. I would like to point out that Kasey's answers to the breast question was literally just large, boing boing. I think this entry is simply referring to info about Tetsu, the band's original vocalist, who, because of the band not being that popular during his era, is not talked about nearly as much as Gecht or Klaha. So here's a small info dump on Tetsu. He was born on December 12, 1972 in Tokyo. He started a music career in 1991 as vocalist of Nervous. He was friends with Kasey, who invited him to join Malice Mizer in 1992. He departed from the band in 1994 because he didn't really enjoy the type of music they were making and he was tired of Visual Kei. Since then he was involved with many other bands such as Mega 8 Ball, Nil, Zigzo, the Black Comet Club Band, Pretty Boys, Slippy and Disco Volante. He also has a solo career. In 1999, Mana appeared on the TV program Nail Queen 99, which, from what I could find, was an international nail expo or something like that. Mana being Mana, despite being surrounded by microphones, he did not say a single word. His interpreter at the show was Minako Honda, who was also Malice Mizer's secretary at the time and would later write a book as a collaboration with Kasey. Cantavanda is a Belgian YouTuber who archives not widely available content related to Visual Kei bands and also uploads his original music. He's a very prominent figure in the Malice Mizer community as his channel hosts many high quality versions of the band's videos that otherwise would possibly be lost to time. If you know Malice Mizer, then I would find it hard to believe that you've never heard of Cantavanda. You might be wondering, who exactly is Cantavanda? And why did he choose to follow the path of selflessly serving the community? And well, I've got great news for you.
Hey there, I'm Cantavanda, I'm 25 years old and I'm from Belgium. And I'm known for unofficial Malice Mizer uploads that have kinda blown up. I got into Visual Kei in 2012 with the band Versailles. And when Camijo's first solo music video contained Mana, I was immediately enthralled by his energy, and there my lifelong journey and love for Malice Mizer started. Back in the early 2010s, Visual Kei was kinda dead, and as a result, CDs, DVDs and even demo tapes were very cheap. And so I bought a ton from Japan and I started uploading basically every Malice Mizer video except just a few around 2016 to 2019, and they blew up. What set my channel apart was an organized way of titling and tagging, good thumbnails, and finally ripping the DVDs in a good way without any quality loss. And then useless upscales to 280p for a boost in the algorithm and the illusion that it's higher quality. Honestly, 480p or 4K doesn't really matter, it's all about the base DVD rip and not compressing the video, which I both did well. And before that, only potato quality videos were on YouTube, scattered around many channels and titled poorly. Now I stopped uploading Visual Kei to my main channel to keep it copyright safe, so I won't get wiped from the internet, and only upload my own music, which is basically Malice Mizer meets many different genres, both Japanese or Western. All of my current Visual Kei uploads are on Visual Flower Archive, my new channel, and it already has some juicy unreleased Malice Mizer footage that it rips from promotional VHS and TV VHS tapes. Enjoy.
Regret was the first of only 2 Malice Mizer songs that were composed by Gecht. It is entirely instrumental and was performed live by Gecht on piano and Kami on drums. In many Malice Mizer interviews, the members look like they don't wanna be there.
いや、着ない。エレガントじゃないから。
面白い。エレガントじゃないから。
Barano Conray is a silent film made by Malice Mizer released in 2002. It is based on Dracula and other vampire-based stories. Scenes from it were used in the promotional video for Mayonaka Nikawa Shitayoku Soku. It follows Klacha, who travels to Transylvania to finalize the purchase of a manor of Earl Dracula. I won't give you any spoilers, honestly it's not a very interesting movie, but it's fun to watch if you're a fan of Malice Mizer. The original release has intertitles in broken English, but thankfully someone online fixed them. You can find it on YouTube. Malice Mizer took many inspirations from classical music. For example, the song Madrigal samples the Turkish March by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Baroque samples Für Elise by Ludwig van Beethoven, and two-part invention in number 4 in D minor by Johann Sebastian Bach. Sei Narutoki Eien no Inori samples Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Bach as well. Early on in the Gecht era, the band would play Frédéric Chopin's Revolutionary Etude or Etude on the Bombardment of Warsaw as an intro to their concerts. One of Chopin's nocturnes is played in the ending credits of Malice Mizer's Vert Ale film. Mana is a fan of horror films. He mentioned that he really likes Italian horror films. He doesn't like Japanese horror movies because they scare him too much. Among his favorite horror films are the original Suspiria and the original Dracula. The music video for Malice Mizer's Le Ciel follows a young girl wandering through some decrepit locations. There's no one agreed upon interpretation of what's going on in the video, so I'll just tell you what I think it's all about, based on the video and the song's lyrics. The girl had died, possibly in a traffic accident, and ended up in a purgatory. According to the Catholic religion, purgatory is a place where people's souls are cleansed before they're allowed into heaven. Another possibility is that she's in a coma, but based on the other visuals in the video, I think the religious option is more likely. As the girl wanders through the purgatory, she is being watched over by angels portrayed by the band members. In one scene we can see stigmata on the palms of her hands, corresponding to the crucifixion wounds of Jesus Christ. In her memories, she sees herself in the past playing with other children and being happy, which makes her cry, possibly due to a realization that she can never go back to these days. At the end, the girl approaches the angel portrayed by Gecht, who grabs her by the hand and walks away with her, vanishing into thin air, probably taking her straight to heaven. As Gecht is the only angel that directly interacts with the girl and even smiles to her, he might be her guardian angel. And if you prefer the coma option, this would be the representation of the girl choosing death over waking up. If you want to look even deeper into it, the accident might be symbolism for the child losing her innocence, and the wandering through purgatory is her harsh journey into growing up. But remember that these are just a few shitty theories I came up with while watching the AMV. I didn't really like it, so I watched it only twice. I'm also sorry if I misinterpreted any religious themes, I don't have much knowledge about Christian symbolism. Melons were Kami's favorite food. Reportedly, Mana eats melons every year on the anniversary of Kami's passing.
メロンがありますね。これ
プレゼントね。僕からの。
あ、そうですか。
僕の好物なんですよ。
メロ
ン。だからあげます。
これ私も好きなんだ。
Gez was the first drummer of Malice Mizer. He's actually the drummer that you can hear on the Sans Logic demo. As was said before, in March 1993, Gez took Kami's place in Nuclear Romance, and Kami took Gaz's place in Malice Mizer. On December 22nd, 2017, Mana announced via Twitter that Gaz had passed away due to illness. No further details were given about his death, and his funeral was held privately. The remaining members of Nuclear Romance held an event in his memory.
はい、ドラムのガズです。ガズさん。よろしくお願いします。よろしく。皆さん似てるわな。褒めすぎです。
Malice Mizer had an official fan club nicknamed Masherie. The club was for Japanese fans only and had an official magazine, of which 21 volumes were released between 1997 and 2001. The band also held some fan club events. It's worth noting that the Japanese fans call themselves Mizera or Ketsuzoku, the latter translates to blood relative. The songs Au revoir and Shiroi use a guitar synthesizer, basically a guitar that can be played like a synthesizer. In one interview, Mana is quoted saying, "I first added effects to the normal guitar to give it that Malice Mizerish sound, but in order to express the feelings of this composition I needed more than just guitar. So I started to add synth guitar and then I started to wonder if I couldn't add other various sounds as well. We wanted to try to change how far the guitar can be taken. The sound of the dueling guitars with a pipe organ and piano was new and fresh to us at the time, and we really liked the sound of it. So we thought long and hard about the best way to express that." According to Mana's interview with the Rock and Read magazine, the band had some problems with recording the guitar synth. There's a significant number of Malice Mizer fans that don't like Gekt. However, there doesn't seem to be one specific reason for it. Some of them consider him a sellout, some think his leaving was the reason for Malice Mizer's disbandment, some were offended by his comments about the band, and simply some don't like him as a person. It seems that over the years the dislike towards Gekt has been slowly fading away, but it's still present. Yuki loves chocolate, like he really loves it. He said that eating chocolate is the first thing he does when he gets up in the morning, and he has cheated on his diet by eating chocolate. He recommended the strawberry flavored Caplico. Mana is very fond of Snoopy. In one of the interviews I found, he's quoted saying, "I slept with a blue Snoopy blanket when I was a child, so I think I just naturally became very fond of it. I have so many Snoopy themed items I can barely count them all, as I always receive them as presents from all of you. I think what draws me to the character the most is the carefree atmosphere, which I find very soothing. I often use a Snoopy tea set when I'm having tea." In 1998, Malice Mizer appeared on a TV show in which they present photos of their apartments. As you might expect, it ends up being pretty funny. This was also Malice Mizer's first TV appearance in everyday clothes, which Gekt says are their pajamas.
続いては今度はコウジさん
のお宅を撮ってきていただきました。こちらの写真です。どうぞ。また物騒ですね。物騒ですね。
かなりこれはカルト入ってますね。これ
何の部屋なんですか？
うわすごい。すごい。これコンセプト的には
コンセプト？
はい。
ドクロ。
ドクロ。そのままなんですけど。
猫もドクロなんですか？
猫？
よく気がつきましたね。
はい。
次は神さんです。
神様。
まずはこちら。はい。おお。こんなのがあるんですか？
これね、2メーターぐらいある。
本当に？
ソファ。
Malice Mizer appeared on the TV show Pink Paparazzi in 1998. During their appearance they were learning how to fish. This is also where the clip of Gekt saying Kasey is 4 years old comes from.
いや、あいつびっくりしませんよ。
無視。
マジで？
つったらこう。
手でやっちゃってんじゃん。
つったらこう。
あ、ここまであるの？
つったらこう。
こうなるよっての教えてくれてるんだ。すごい。
歯は少しある。
じゃあ痛いんじゃん。
親指をね。
あ、下があるじゃん。
親指をこう置いて。
According to the Lolita Fashion Wiki, Gothic Lolita is a style of the Lolita fashion that was popularized by Mana. It's influenced by the Victorian-inspired goth styles. Some of the main characteristics of it are dark clothes, dark makeup, motifs such as crosses, bats, skulls, coffins, chandeliers, deep red roses and castles. Elegant Gothic Lolita and Elegant Gothic Aristocrat are two substyles of Gothic Lolita that were made by Mana for his fashion brand. In a 2018 interview, Tetsu talked about his reasons for leaving Malice Mizer. Quote, "As we got more popular and when we decided on our major debut, I thought, is this the face I want to show the world? On the verge of the debut, I ended up quitting, but pictures from back then keep popping up on the net, so I guess the world is seeing that face anyway. I had a feeling that I really couldn't go on though. The debut was this huge thing, but I was starting to think that the makeup thing was getting more and more shallow. I remember thinking, I'm so different from them. I talked about it with the other members and it was like, you can sell well if you like this, but I think I've got to separate from you guys and I should do it sooner rather than later. So to keep the whole thing short, the reason for Tetsu leaving was pretty much just artistic differences. Kasey dropped out after finishing the first semester of high school at the age of 16 and moved to Tokyo to become a musician. His father, who was a primary school teacher, didn't approve of Kasey's decision, but over time he changed his mind and started to think it was a good thing that Kasey did that. Kasey wears thongs. Yeah, I don't know how I can elaborate on this. I think this entry is referring to a 2012 Skype forum post in which a user says that Mana liked one of their pins on Pinterest, so they friended him on Facebook, on which Mana posts prolifically in English and has 500 friends. The Facebook page was immediately called out to be an imposter. Mana is known for his constant poker face, but he actually does crack a little smile from time to time. I absolutely hate the fact that this is the third time I have to talk about this, but in 2020 Gagged made a video for his Gagged Bootcamp series on YouTube in which he shows us how to train our peepees to make them stronger and grow. The Fuck Squad was a group of women from all across Japan who wanted to have sex with Visual Kei band members and then rate them in their notebooks based on how good those members performed, I guess. In 2009, Gagged exposed the group to the public by telling a story of Malice Mizer's encounter with the woman.
あれなんですよ、バンドの時に昔マリス・ミゼルっていうバンドやってて、当時もビジュアル系のバンドでも腐るほどいたんですよ。なるほどなるほど。でその頃に全国的にいたその有名なグループを組んでるチームの女の子たちがいっぱいいたんですよ。なるほどなるほど。ファック隊って言うんですけど、ライブハウスもあるじゃないですか。で僕らだけじゃなくてそのビジュアル系のバンド全部回るんで、もう北海道ファック隊、要は札幌ファック隊、函館ファック隊とかもういっぱいいるんですよ。当時ファン打ちっていうのは結構普通で、ファンの子たちと合同で打ち上げをやることがあるんですよ。でそこでなぜかそのファック隊の子たちもいるんですよね。
そりゃそうでしょ、そこには絶対に
狙ってくるんですよ、メンバーを。で僕そのファン打ちが結構苦手で、露骨に来るんですよ、ファクターの子たちも。で僕よくいつもメンバーに「先上がるわ」って言って上がってたんですよね。岡山で抜けて一人でバーに行ってバーで飲んでたんですよね、終わってから。そしたら横にすごい綺麗な女の子がいて、この子可愛いなと思って、で声かけて、でちょっと一緒に飲もうかって言って飲んで、でそのまま連れて帰ったんですよ。連れて帰ろう。で部屋でちょっと喋ってて、で先にシャワー浴びてこいって言ってシャワー浴びてたんですよ。そしたら目の前にその子のテーブルの上にその子の手帳が置いてたんですよ。こうピタピタピタピタってなって、こうピタって止まった瞬間に、こうバンドの名前がものすごい勢いで書いてあるんですよ。でそこにはマリス・ミゼル、うちのバンドですけど、には空白だったんですよ。なるほど。これ一体何だろうなって思ってて、いやと思ってファック隊だと思って。
番組は何か書いてあるの？
そこの要はそこの、まあ、バンドの名前と、バンドのメンバーの名前と、そのメンバーの横にこう正の字がこう書いてあるんですよ。
たまたまみたいな。
これなんだこれって、お前ファクタイだろもう本当この名前はこれ下相手だろ。
なるほどね。正の字もあるし。
したらこう、まあそうだと。
ああ入ったか。
でもその中にはもう信じられないぐらい僕の知ってるこうバンドのメンバーが、まあもちろん友達もいるわけじゃないですか。友達の名前も全部そこに載ってて、でもうそれ言えないですけど、もうあまりにもショックで、
やっちゃった。
でその僕はさすがにやっぱりみんなの弟になるのやっぱ嫌じゃないですか。
Deep Sanctuary 6 was a live show held at Malice Mizer's 25th anniversary on September 9th, 2019. It was released on Blu-ray in June 2019. It included Shuji, Kamijo and Hitomi as guest vocalists and Sakura as a guest drummer. After finishing high school, Mana enrolled in a music school in Osaka. He wasn't satisfied with the rigid outlook that the school had on music, so he decided to drop out of it. Yuki's costume in Gekano's Yasukyoku was inspired by Captain Hook from Peter Pan and Dracula from Castlevania. Yuki also portrayed Count Dracula in Malice Mizer's Barana Canary film. Gekt has had a number of professional impersonators. A notable example here would be the one who has a video of his singing Gekano Yasukyoku circulating around. The church present on Malice Mizer's Barano Saido album artwork is the Catholic St. Vitus Metropolitan Cathedral in Prague. It is the largest and most important church in the Czech Republic and is a prominent example of Gothic architecture. And not gonna lie, I would love to go to Prague one day just to visit the Malice Mizer Cathedral. Monologue Garden is a website which serves as Mana's blog. He doesn't post on it that much these days. In the 1994 Share the Memoir interview, Kasey talked about how he and his schoolmates used to skip class to go to the beach. When asked about what they would do there, he responded, "Just talk and smoke." At night there was a public park where cars would gather, they had young couples in them on dates. We would chuck firecrackers at the cars and run away. Or we would go to the sea and throw little rocks at the fishermen. After that, we would often go to the bike shop, do some preliminary investigation that took precise teamwork, and then we would steal a bike and sing as we rode along. We did a lot. Those days I didn't think of anything at all, but they were very fun. Right behind my house was the ocean, so all the time in the middle of the night I would go out to it alone, and as I stood there on the beach I would think to myself, the ocean is vast and the moon rises the day sinks, while throwing little rocks at the fishermen. They were those kind of days. Sans Logic was a demo tape distributed for free at Malice Mizer's first live on Halloween night 1992 at Meguro Rock Meikan. The artwork for it was drawn by Yuki all by himself. Every now and then you can stumble upon someone commenting on Malice Mizer's use of Nazi uniforms and symbolism in the no pains no gains life. However, there's nothing Nazi in this performance except for the fascist salute done by Mana and Kasey. The uniforms that the members wear are actually that of the Imperial Japanese Army. This doesn't make it much better since, as you probably know, the Japanese military did its fair share of inhumane war crimes during the Second World War. The rising sun flag flown by the members is pretty much an equivalent of the Nazi Germany swastika for Asian countries such as the Koreas, China, Singapore, the Philippines and Taiwan. Malice Mizer's usage of World War II imagery is just a part of their theatricality and certainly did not come from a place of hatred, considering the song's anti-war lyrics and the fact that Gekt's wife was Korean. All that being said, Gekt did wear a Nazi-inspired uniform at some point in his solo career as some sort of commentary about humanity or something. Kasey loves cats and he frequently posts them to his Twitter. He had two of them, named Zaku and Lala. Mana's salon refers to the Moame Moiti online salon opened through the website DMM in 2019. It's kind of like a fan club which gives its members news about the brand, exclusive entries of Mana's diary, hair and makeup tips, exclusive videos and interviews that Mana conducts with special guests. This refers to a video on Gecht's YouTube channel in which he reads aloud a perverted version of the Japanese folklore Mama Toro while moaning. Yuki's sole credit as a composer is the song Tsunikis from the Mervele album. He also programmed the hidden track Bara no Souretsu on the Beast of Blood. He was more of a performer than a writer. Vert Ale is a 30-minute long silent film made by Malice Mizer as an introduction to the music video for Bel Air. The short synopsis, taken from Cantavanda's description, is: Gecht Kamui, our hero, and his wife Judith Chancel live together with Judith's brother Yuki and the nobleman Kami. One day, a fortune teller tells them they are cursed. The movie follows Gecht Kamui going through depression and trying to find a way to solve the curse. Gecht claims to know the basics of most instruments. He started classical training when he was 3. Initially he was a drummer. He can also play piano, synth, guitar, shamisen, violin and brass instruments. Skype.sc is a fan club with information on Malice Mizer and its members and other bands like Moi Dis Moi, Eve of Destiny and Schwarzstein. You may find frequently asked questions about the bands there, as well as a guide for buying merch and useful links. The main site has been inactive for 12 years now, however, the Skype forums are still active and growing strong with new members joining now and then. They are mainly used to discuss the careers of Malice Mizer and Schwarzstein guys, but you can also find threads dedicated to other classical visual kei bands, like Velvet Eden and Lorraine. The site's administrators were Flowers of Night and Navate, but from what I could find, only the former remains active to this day. I couldn't find the date that the main site was started, only that it was relaunched on July 4, 2006, but on the forums both administrators made their accounts on August 5, 2004, so I guess that would mean that this is the date that the forums were created. JVM Rose's Blood Symphony was a collaboration tour of the bands Versailles, Moi Dis Moi, D and Matenro Opera in 2023. JVM stands for Japanese Visual Metal. They released a memorial single on September 20th. Since all bands contributed something to the song, it's technically Mana's first ever song released on streaming services. Malice Mizer had 2 99 questions interviews in which, as the name suggests, members of the band were asked 99 questions. The first one was in the Gecht era and the second, better known one, was with Klaha. Playing tennis was Kami's favorite hobby. He started doing it in elementary school. Years later he started doing it again. In one interview he's quoted saying, "I don't go to the gym, but I play tennis about once every 2 days. I started that about 2 months ago too. I play by myself using a machine against the wall. I play for about 30 to 40 minutes and work up huge sweat. In the future I'm thinking of doing some kind of tennis special with Vicious." Parents of both Mana and Gecht were music teachers and they were very strict. For example, Mana is now claustrophobic because as a child he was locked in a closet as a punishment for some minor misdeeds. And as for Gecht's parents, I'll talk about them further down the iceberg. As you probably know, Malice Mizer used a lot of BDSM aesthetics. I remember reading somewhere that this was Kasey's idea, but I didn't find any confirmation of it now. If you want, you can have a ringtone of Gecht telling you to, quote, "Answer your fucking phone."
Hey. Hi, sweetie. It's me, Gecht. Hello? Hello? Gecht's here. Hey. Are you there? Hey. It's me, Gecht. Answer your fucking phone.
Mana had dyed his hair green a couple of times. Back in high school, when Mana became interested in heavy metal and punk music, he grew his hair past his shoulders and dyed it bright red or pink and styled it into a huge mohawk. In my first Malice Mizer video I said that there were no pictures of Mana with a mohawk, but I was mistaken. Due to lyrical and visual content in Kasey's work, it is generally assumed that he is interested in sadomasochism and has an eyeball fetish. He even stated in one interview that he has an eyeball fetish, but honestly, Malice Mizer interviews aren't a reliable source for this type of things, as the members are more than likely to just make up something funny, which is why I assume the other members did. Yeah, apparently the eyeball fetish is maybe not common, but quite noticeable in Japan. Malice Mizer used to have their own radio show, as that's what Japanese celebrities did back then, and some of them still do now. In one recording of the show, you can listen to Gecht and Kasey rapping a tongue twister about mana.
難しいね。ペンネームマナ様だから。マナから学んだマナーがなってないとマナのままはか、マナのままはか、もう、マナのままはからマナ言われる。マナから学んだマナーがなっていないとマナのママ母からママ言われる。と。行ってみよう。OK。これもリズムでいこう。マナから学んだマナーがなってないとマナのママ母からママ言われる。マナから学んだマナーがなってないとマナのママ母からママ言われる。マナから学んだマナーがなってないとマナのママ母からママ言われる。結構かっこいいね。
今言えたの？
言えた。聞いてないでしょ。じゃあ工事行ってみよう。
13秒。
じゃあもう少しテンポ早く行こうか。
早くすんのよ。マナから学んだマナーがなってないとママのママからママ言われる。マナから学んだマナーがなってないとママのママからママ言われる。マナから学んだマナーがないママのママからママ。
The promotional video for Gardenia is lost media as it was never officially released. The reason for it was likely because they somehow lost the video files for it. If you want to learn more about this topic, you can check out my The Lost Media of Visual Kei video. The instrumental track Saikai no Chitobara of Bara no Seido is dedicated to Kami. The promotional video for it features a lot of spider imagery. The reason for it is the fact that Kami had died of subarachnoid hemorrhage, and spiders are an order of arachnoids. The arachnoid mater is named that way because it resembles a spider web. The Japanese name for subarachnoid hemorrhage also has the word spider in it. Alexvandrya is a YouTuber making content related to Visual Kei and a prominent member of the Malice Mizer community. She is known for her love for Klacha and is a self-described Klacha enthusiast. If you're wondering who she is and what led to her interest in Klacha, then I've got great news for you once again.
Hello everyone, if you don't know who I am, my name is Alexvandrya. I am a content creator here on YouTube, but also on TikTok and Instagram. I make Visual Kei content and Lolita fashion content. If you can't tell, I have quite the affinity for one band in particular, but I do occasionally talk about other bands. My niche is just specifically Malice Mizer. I think I'm mostly well known for my love for Klaha. He is my honmei. I love him very dearly. The main reason being is that I really like shy men. It's just the kind of person that I am personally attracted to. Klaha is a very sweet person. He is kind of just like the perfect like male wife husband material. Loves cleaning, very handsome. And of course, I absolutely adore his voice. He has one of the most unique voices. It really fits so well for the third era of Malice Mizer. With that dark and gloomy, elegant style, he just fits in so well. And I really feel like the four of them were a perfect match for each other for what they were going for. My favorite song from the Klaha era would probably be Meyonaka, but I also really love Shiori and Kagami and Genso Rakuen and Beast of Blood and Garnet and Gardenia. I don't know. I love them all. It's really hard to pick, but if I really had to pick one, it'd probably be Mayonaka. I also really love Clawha's solo music and also his previous band before he joined Malice Mizer, Pride of Mind. I do want to say that Clawha's maxi single Marichin is available on iTunes and I believe a couple other music platforms, so if you do have the means, listen or purchase to his solo music, I highly recommend it. They also have it on YouTube too. They don't have his other albums, Setsubo and Nostal Lab, unfortunately, so I do urge you to please go listen to his solo music. Please go listen to it. Please support his solo music, even though he's not around anymore. I'm sure that he will notice that and see you. So please. Also, did you know that Setsubo, the last mini album that he put out, was actually supposed to be a trilogy? So he was supposed to have 2 more of those mini albums coming out later on, I guess, but we never got that. He did say that he was going to make more Malice Mizer styled music. His fans were requesting it so much from him. He was going to feed us because he cares about us. He cares about our feelings and what we want from him. I don't think the fan base gave him enough recognition for his efforts. So we can do that now. We should do that now. Please support his solo music. It's his project, his work. He composed everything. He did the lyrics, of course. Please support him. I beg you, please support his music so he can be noticed again. But anyways, I'm done ranting, so bye-bye.
Miroi Archive is a channel dedicated to archiving content related to Malice Mizer, Mwadi Mwa and Mwame Moiti. This includes remastered music, live shows and backstage videos among others. It's a great source of information on Mana and Malice Mizer. Only Mana, Kasey, Yuki and Kami's parents and a few close friends attended his funeral. Gect cut contact with the other Malice Mizer members after leaving the band and he was on tour when Kami died. He was informed about Kami's death a few days after the funeral took place. Gect was really hurt by this, as he believed the other members left him out intentionally. In retrospect, this seems like just a tragic case of miscommunication. Even if Gect was informed about Kami's funeral in time, there will be no way he'll attend it as I said, he was on tour at the time and the funeral took place on the same day that Kami's body was found. Apremi di E-Style is a rare song that was distributed in 1996 as a promotional material. It's the song Apremi di but in a bossa nova style and sung in English. A part of the song's lyrics were taken from Mariah Carey's song titled When I Saw You. Zepeto is an application that, according to its website, is an immersive avatar-based social universe. You can make yourself a virtual avatar in it and can play some minigames. I have no idea, I never used such a thing, but do you know who does use it? Mana. Gect wrote 2 autobiographies. The first one, titled Jihaku, was released in September 2003. The second one, titled Jihaku 2, was released in November 2023. Maybe we will get a Jihaku 3 in 2043. As was said before, Malice Mizer sampled Bugs' music quite a lot. Specifically, Mana is the member that likes him the most. This might disappoint those of you who have seen the original Malice Mizer Iceberg video, but I won't be doing a montage of the photos to music this time because I had a copyright problem on that video because of it. Mana-sama.net was a fan site dedicated to Mana, where you could find news and information about him. It also had a message board connected to it. The site was active since either late 2005 or early 2006. It was renewed in 2013 and the last updates were in 2017. The domain was shut down in late 2021. It was run by a person named Sarah. Canary Kasey is a Western visual kei musician from Raleigh, North Carolina. Since 2021 he has a solo career under the name Canary Complex. He is also a guitarist of the band Flood District. He draws inspiration from bands such as Malice Mizer, Lunacy and Lorraine, and he records guitar covers of Malice Mizer songs. And for the third time today, if you wanna learn more about him, I've got great news for you.
Hello, my name is Canary Kasey. I play guitar in a synth pop band called FUCK! Again! Hello. Could I describe what this band means to me? Well, when I was a baby canary, maybe 15 or 16,000 years old, I went into a long YouTube deep dive of visual K bands, and I was really wrapped up in the whirlwind of Lunacy, Lycan Seal, Bucktick, and Malice Mizer, or as we Americans like to say, Malice Mizer. Please do not at me. There's a certain nostalgia to their music, a certain ethereal auditory glow that you feel when you listen to songs like Again, Lucio, Au revoir, Ma chérie. It's this imaginary Paris. I always tell people that the Paris that I envision when I listen to this band, it doesn't exist, and it never existed anywhere but inside the mind of a young Japanese man. And the only other band that I can think of that pulled that specific atmosphere consistently would be Lorraine. This atmosphere is so influential in the way that I create music. You may know me for my visual K covers on TikTok. I really enjoy doing this, listening to these songs that have never been transcribed before, well, most of them. And the ones that have been transcribed are often quite inaccurate. So I enjoy picking them apart and finding all these magical moments in their music. I don't think anyone could listen to their music and say it's not thoughtfully orchestrated or well performed. Of the three vocalists, there are three separate eras. Although I appreciate all three, my favorite era is the Tetsu era. Tetsu is one of those incredible vocalists that may not be the best singer in the traditional sense of the word, but when he sings something, you really feel it. There's a sense of desperation and longing in his voice. Please take a listen to my solo project, Canary Complex. I think you'll hear all of the visual K influence. I want to be able to create something that is nearly as evocative and nearly as timeless. And with my new record, as Canary Complex, I believe that I'm on the right track. I really look forward to sharing it with you. I also play guitar for the band called Flood District. But anyway, back to the video.
Mana has recorded a few videos of him playing Moi Dis Moi and Malice Mizer songs for his YouTube channel. If I understand correctly, he did it to encourage people to stay at home during the pandemic. Mana's aesthetics have been described as gothic and androgynous, and in his Moi Dis Moi days are characterized by, quote, the classical silhouette of his stage attire with the voluminous hair, huge platforms, corset and an open skirt. Kasey has a number of tattoos on his body. There is a Malice Mizer doujinshi manga called Premiere, made in 1999. It tells the story of two brothers, Kami and Gecht, living in a castle in France with their butler Yuki. One day they're approached by a peddler Kasey, who presents them with an android-made mana. I'm not spoiling anything further and I encourage you to go ahead and read it. The artwork is honestly very cool and it's not a long read. I also found one more Malice Mizer manga that was put out for sale in 2020, but I couldn't find much info about it. Miroir was the official Malice Mizer website. It's still active today, but back in the day it looked way different and the only way to access the old site is by the Wayback Machine. It hosted info about the band and its official fan club. You could even send messages to the members themselves. There is an interview in which Malice Mizer expressed their thoughts on homosexuality. In an English translation of it, Kami says, I don't know how I came to like men. Everyone, I don't know when or how I woke up to this. Because of the translation being a bit off, we can't say for certain what exactly Kami meant by this and if he truly liked men or not. There's a whole thread on Escape forums about it. Pride of Mind was a new wave band that Klaha was part of before joining Malice Mizer. They were a three-man band consisting of Klaha, then known as Masaki Haruna, Atsushi Fukuyama and Masanari Ito. Klaha was the vocalist and lyricist of the group. He formed Pride of Mind along with Fukuyama in 1992. Klaha and Masanori Ito left the band in early 1996. Fukuyama attempted to continue the band by bringing in Yusuke Goto, better known as Dada of Velvet Eden, who we'll talk about later, but they would release only one demo and disband that same year. Mana likes to wear miniskirts because, quote, "The reason women wear miniskirts is because they can attract others' attention and it's really exciting." I already talked about how Yuki likes to paint, but both Mana and Kasey enjoy painting as well. Mana likes French pop music, but apparently he doesn't like any other types of pop. I don't think it's surprising considering that he's a metalhead. The Gothic and Lolita Bible was a fashion magazine which focused on the Gothic and Lolita fashions. The first issue was published in 2001 and the final one was in 2017. Mana helped popularize the magazine and he was included in every issue of it until 2016. In a blog entry he wrote, "I think everyone always looks forward to my photos wearing Muame Moiti in the Gothic and Lolita Bible, but this time I got this from the person in charge. Every issue we've always requested Mana-sama x Muame Moiti pages, but according to the publisher, it has been decided that from next issue on those plans will come to an end." That's what they said. I have always taken part in the Gothic and Lolita Bible since the very first issue over a span of some 10 years, so as you might expect, I'm a little sad. Man, I feel so bad for the guy. It's a good thing this fucking magazine disbanded. Malice Mizer has a number of unreleased songs. This includes 16 No Solitude, Freeze Me, Portugal, Hakuchu no Waltz and the vocal version of Zencho from the Tetsu era, Miwaku no Tango and Shoujo no Hitomi from the Gagged era, as well as a vocal version of Hakai no Hate and Kyomu no Nako de Yugi from the Klaha era. You can find bootleg live recordings of all these songs in a compilation on YouTube. Several Madimwa songs are theorized to have been originally made for Malice Mizer, Pageant for example. There are also rumors that CD Japan was taking pre-orders for an entire full-length album that was cancelled following Malice Mizer's hiatus. You can even find its supposed tracklist, but honestly I don't think it's real. But it's worth to note that the earliest mentions of this album that I could find date back to 2006, only a few years after the hiatus. Mana is a fan of the heavy metal band Iron Maiden, and their Peace of Mind album released in 1986 was the first record that he had ever bought. Golden Bomber is a Visual Kei parody band founded in 2004. You might recognize Sho Kiryuin, the band's vocalist, from this video.
森の中を歩いてた幼い僕は不思議にもただ引き寄せられるままに古い小屋に着いた僕は誇りにまみれた横たわるピエロに気を引かれる彼は悲しそうなでも嬉しそうな顔をして屋敷に連れてってと涙を浮かべ僕に抱かれた階段を登り抜け光を放ち彼を待つ少女の人形と互いに見つめ合う綺麗な夜だから悲しい夜だから優しく笑って見守ってあげる
In 2017, Golden Bomber released a music video in which they parody bands like Malice Mizer, Lorraine, X-Japan and Duran Grey. For Malice Mizer, they reference the music videos for Bel Air, Illuminati and Shiroi. It's actually very cool. Kaya is a Japanese musician and a former member of Visual Kei band Schwarzstein. He went pretty mainstream as of late, but he got his start on Mana's record label MIDI.net. The two appear to remain on good terms. In fact, this year Kaya was a guest on Mana's tour to South America. Kaya, Mana, Kamijo, Mayu, Kazuno and Kanoma made a one concert only session band Kyoku Otadone Band, which performed the song Baroque at a MIDI.NET event in 2003. According to Mana, the first band he was in was a Motley Crue cover band, in which he was a vocalist. He retired from singing after a performance with them. People on TikTok claimed that Yuki had a crush on Mana before he found out he's a man. I couldn't find any proof of this claim, and I don't think it's probable since it was Mana himself who approached Yuki and asked him to join the band. But still, it's pretty funny.
Oh my god, such beautiful lady, you come from heaven, wanna be my baby, I think I'm in love, I'ma go in, but first please show your bobs and vagine.
The name of one of Malice Mizer's best known songs, Bel Air, is basically a mistake. The original name was supposed to be Vercel, which in French means towards her. When Vercel was transcribed to the Japanese katakana alphabet, which doesn't use the letters V or L, it was turned into Beru Eru. It was then transcribed back as Bel Air. Yet the aristocrat portrayed by Gecht is not actually the Prince of Bel Air. It appears that it was mistranslated again for the 30-minute film we talked about earlier, as its title is Vertail, meaning green wing. But this one might have been intentional to give the title a double meaning or something. Gecht is known to be pretty impulsive. Back in the day he got into multiple fights with members of other bands. Despite always claiming to be good friends, more and more arguments started to arise between the band members along with Malice Mizer's rise in popularity. This was one of the factors that contributed to Gecht leaving the band. During the second Dark Sanctuary event in July 2009, Mana, Kasey and Yuki performed a few Malice Mizer songs and a cover of Rob Zombie's What Lurks on Channel X. Unfortunately, there's no recording of it. In Gecht's autobiography titled Jihaku, he describes how when swimming offshore on Okinawa, he nearly drowned and saw his life up until that point flash before him. He found the strength to keep swimming after he recalled that he hadn't had sex in months. Quite recently, TikTok users started saying that Kami was using the Shiseido Masheri Airfill shampoo and conditioner. I couldn't find any confirmation of it in interviews or anything like that. I only found that Kami used a perfume named Masheri. The Masheri shampoo was available to buy back in the 90s, but it was reportedly just a standard and boring hair care product. This changed when it was acquired by a different company in 2021. Kasey and Mana are big fans of the French singer Malin Farmer. A few Malice Mizer songs sample her music, and the name Sans Logique is taken from a title of Malin Farmer's song. Even Malice Mizer's logo was inspired by Malin Farmer. Malice Mizer members had an inside joke between themselves. One member would say something and the other would respond with what, a good story. Klacha had two cats named Atra and Chopin. And by the way, the white cat that he's holding in that one Beast of Blood photo is not one of them. He provided some photos of his cats for his fan club magazine. In the Bara no Conrei movie, Klacha's bride, portrayed by Terumi Nagayoshi, is named Cecil, without an E at the end. This is most likely a mistake, as Cecil is actually a male given name, while Cecil with an E at the end is a female name. Yuki and Kami had stage fright, which might be the reason why Yuki didn't continue his music career following Malice Mizer's hiatus. They didn't like to be on stage alone. According to one anecdote, during a fan club tour in 1999, Kami got scared and ran off stage, quote, leaving Yuki shaking and stammering. This is something I didn't believe at first, but over time I came to agree that this is more than likely. Although this was never officially confirmed, Mana provided his voice for a few Moi Moi and Malice Mizer songs.
For eternity.
Gecht started playing brass instruments in school and he easily mastered them. However, by too much practice with the trumpet and tuba, his teeth were damaged and he could no longer play brass instruments. Velvet Eden was a Visual Kei darkwave band, active since 1998 to 2002 and then from 2010 to 2016. It was initially comprised of vocalist Dada, who you might recall replaced Klaha in Pride of Mind, and keyboardist Calm. From what I could find, there is no direct link between Velvet Eden and Malice Mizer, there's only a few insignificant things. Calm composed all of Velvet Eden's music until he left in the year 2000. He currently collaborates with Kaya of Schwarzstein and has a solo career. And Dada is an interesting case. Dada, Velvet Eden's vocalist, is a complicated individual. Unlike Mana, who's simply a dedicated crossdresser, Dada was a full-on drag queen who got his start at some illegal drag events with ties to BDSM. He was the only known drag queen active in the Visual Kei scene. Dada would eventually end his music career and start working as a fashion designer. He reportedly was friends with Mana until he got too annoying and Mana cut ties with him. He is extremely jealous of Mana's success and at one point he was trying to start beef with him by claiming that Mana stole his style, even though Mana started cross-dressing long before Velvet Eden even existed. On his social media profiles, Dada has made some pretty nasty comments. He is racist, xenophobic against other Asian countries, fatphobic and has an obsession with young girls. He reportedly invites young foreigners to come to Japan to model for his brand and then he sexually abuses them. There's also a story of him trying to hook up with a 16-year-old girl and driving from Tokyo to Osaka in full goth makeup to meet with her, only to drink all of her host family's grape juice and leave. In conclusion, he's a pretty weird guy and I don't like him. I hate him in fact, I absolutely despise him. Velvet Eden made some cool music though. Kami had a big perfume collection, as can be seen in his room tour. Back in the early years of Malice Mizer, Yuki made himself a low-budget coffin from which he would come out of on stage. I just can't help but imagine him as the bassist in that one Spinal Tap scene. According to a post on the Mana's Beautiful World is Forever fan blog, at the end of the Mwadi Mwa This Inferno 17 show, quote, Mana walked to the other side of the stage and then disappeared. Turns out that Mana fell off the stage. He later tweeted that he was okay, thankfully. As the large balloons popped and the small ones were batted out, Hayato took selfie photos. Mana had reappeared on stage to the cheers of everyone. When Mana was a child, he thought about joining Jonas, which was a talent agency managing groups of male idols. He even danced like the members of V6. ESP Jean Filet is the guitar that Mana uses in Mwadi Mwa. He has collaborated with ESP to make his own signature models of it. Since Mana doesn't talk, he also doesn't open his mouth. Despite this, you can find a few photos of him showing his teeth. Through Mana's blog site, Monologue Garden, you can fill out a form to send your message to Mana. If you want to send a physical letter or a gift, there's an address under the message form. In an interview for the Rock and Read magazine, Mana talked about how he met with Gecht in 2011 to discuss doing something for the band's 20th anniversary. They gathered the other members and went to dinner together, but, quote, circumstances changed and Gecht could no longer do it. Mana is a fan of the Castlevania series and he wrote a ringtone titled La Nuit Blanche to promote Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. The ringtone can be found anywhere on the internet and is considered lost media. I talk about this in more detail in my Lost Media of Visual Kei video. Girly and Mattenraw are bands that Mana was part of before Malice Mizer. Mattenraw is also how he met with Kasey. In the past, Mana used a kanji spelling of his name. It can be translated to evil name or demon's name. The ESP AW800 nickname Akazu-kun is Kasey's signature guitar produced by ESP. Apparently, Richard Kruspe of the industrial metal band Rammstein owns this signature model. The first time Gecht met Mana, he did actually think that Mana was female and was impressed by how tall that woman was. As was said before, I don't believe that Yuki thought Mana was a woman. Whenever a foreigner obtains a work visa in Brazil, their information is published for everybody to see in a legal newspaper. When Młody Mła came to Brazil in 2012, names of the band members were made publicly available. This confirmed that Mana's real name is Manabu Sato, which was actually rumored for many years. Credits to the Escape Forums user Włody Inferno for fighting this. In 2022, Muame Moiti found itself in a drama for not crediting one of its designers. Instead, they credited it to Mana. After this came to light, they corrected it. An issue of them reusing old designs and recreated them in a worse quality was also brought up. Instead of responding to their fans' complaints, the company decided to deactivate comments on their Instagram. Mana himself is not to blame for all of this, as he probably had little to no control over what was going on. Serena is a stage name that Mana went by while in his previous bands, Girly and Matenro. I don't think this will surprise anyone, but yeah, just like with pop music, Mana doesn't like popular media. Gert grew up with unusually strict parents. His father was a music teacher and his mother owned a small beauty salon. They forced him to learn piano for 2 hours straight every day. He could only listen to classical music and was only allowed to watch educational programs on TV. Gert was quoted saying, "When I remember it, I get angry. I even feel like I could kill them. My life was strictly ordered, like first when I got up I have to say good morning and everything was regulated or instructed. I hated that." There are some rumors that Mana has had plastic surgery to still look young. This has never been confirmed, but even if he did, I don't really see what the big deal is. Like, honestly, who cares? The only Malice Mizer member who is confirmed to have plastic surgeries is Gert. Shockwave 96 was a CD compilation released in October 1996, to which I assume were bands that appeared on the TV show Shockwave around this time. This is the CD that includes Malice Mizer's Après-Midi E-Style track. It also has a few Visual Kei bands on it. Mana's views on gender are pretty interesting, however I don't really want to get into all of because it can get very complicated, especially with the language barrier in certain translations. One thing that is certain is that Mana doesn't believe that specific clothes should be worn by specific genders. Like, for example, he doesn't think that traditionally feminine clothes should be considered feminine. He's basically against the genderification of clothes. Kami's real name was Ukyo Kamimura. His stage name is just a shortened version of his real name. In Japanese, the word kami has 3 different meanings. It can either stand for god, hair, or paper. It's generally assumed that his stage name was meant to mean god, however, the fact that Kami was notable for his majestic hair makes some people think otherwise. But according to Mana, when Kami first joined Malice Mizer, his hair wasn't really that long. So I believe the god option. In a Mashery interview, Mana said he used to work as a drinking glass inspector at a factory. In the mid-90s, Kamijo, later of the bands Lorraine and Versailles, was working as a roadie for Malice Mizer. As you can probably imagine, Gert is a very competitive person and he is very determined to achieve his goals. He has been quoted as saying, "It's not that I want to win, it's just that I don't want to lose." In his autobiography, Gert talks in detail for the first time about his childhood, including a traumatic near-death experience that left him able to see, quote, "things that should not be there." During his stay at the children's hospital, he was able to sense that some of his friends were going to die. The name Młody Mła means me 10 months in French. The word moi, French for me, stands for mana. The number 1 stands for beginning, the number 0 for eternity, and 10 mois, 10 months, for the duration of pregnancy, which in Japan is counted as 10 lunar months rather than 9 months. When asked if he had some frightening experiences with the spiritual world, Kami responded, I wouldn't call them frightening. To give an example, before a live at the Nippon Budokan, my grandmother died. When I was really sick and had to go to the hospital, I heard her voice in my dreams. Don't come here, it's too early for you. I've had a lot of such experiences. Right when we got to the Nippon Budokan, I had a dream with my dog I have at home. At first he was happy to see me running around and barking, but suddenly his face became sad as we walked around, and just like that he stopped moving. I woke up and couldn't stop crying. Something may have happened, I thought, and called home. I found out my grandmother had just died. As mentioned at the beginning, Madimwa is not a band officially, but rather a Mana solo project. However, it operates pretty much as a band. It's just that Mana has all the control over it. While filming the Vert Ale movie and Bel Air music video in France, Gecht walked into a cathedral, sat down at the piano there and started playing. Some children came up to him and started to listen to his playing. Gecht talked about how despite not being able to understand each other due to a language barrier, it was pleasant because they were still able to communicate through the music. The 27 Club is a list of musicians and other artists who died at the age of 27. It's a theory that there is a sort of statistical spike for the deaths of musicians at that age, however it has been refuted by scientific research. Notable members of the 27 Clubs are, for example, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse and Malice Mizer's Kami. Kami cut his trademark long hair in 1998. Initially, when he was asked about the reason for doing so, he laughed and replied, quote, "When I play the drums, it always gets in my way." But in an interview sometime later, when asked about cutting his hair, he said, "There's a deep meaning behind it, but I want to keep it to myself, so I will not say what it means in public." As he died shortly after that, there's no way for us to know whether he was just fooling around or if there truly was some deep, maybe emotional reason for cutting his hair. La Rain was a visual kei pop rock band started by vocalist Kamijo and guitarist Mayu in 1994. Both of them met while working as roadies for Malice Mizer. According to Jam Award's biography special with Mana, he, quote, "customized his school uniform by lining the jacket with paisley fabric and adding pockets, collected catalogs from shops that sold uniforms and designed his own imaginary school uniforms, complete with sewing instructions. This love for drawing and designing clothes would ultimately lead him to start his own fashion label, Mwame Moiti." A few years ago, Gecht cucked a guy by hooking up with his wife. He claims that he had no idea that she was married and he wouldn't do it if he knew. If you want more details of the story, I would recommend checking out my Gecht Iceberg video. Mana has stated that one of the reasons why he's not in any relationship is because, quote, "some part of me is like a doll, unable to love." Kami first learned to play bass because everybody else wanted to play guitar and he wanted to be different, I guess. He played bass in many cover bands around his hometown. He started playing guitar after moving to Tokyo at the age of 18 after seeing Seiji Watanabe play songs by heavy metal bands like Motley Crue and Red. Gecht was quoted saying, "I really hate Led Zeppelin, but one time I heard Stairway to Heaven I couldn't stop crying. I just found time crying listening to the music. Because it's an English song, I couldn't understand the lyrics, and I hated Robert Plant's voice, and I hate the whole sound of Led Zeppelin. But even so, I was impressed, I was moved by that. It was a kind of shocking thing to me." The name Malice Mizer stands for Malice and Misery, which is supposed to be the band's response to a question, what is human? In full, the response is nothing but a being of malice and misery. Kasey and Mana have met at a karaoke bar. Apparently Kasey was kind of freaked out by Mana's appearance, which they talk about in an interview together. Sakura, who was a mentor for Kami, took his place on drums during the Deep Sanctuary 6 live show. He dyed his hair red to match Kami's hair and played a drum kit identical to Kami's. He apparently commented that he was just, quote, lending a physical body to Kami. Digital Madosho, or Digital Book of Magic, was a monthly magazine which included exclusive stories and photos that were not posted on Mana's blog. Since 2012 until 2017, there were 13 volumes of the magazine released. Mana really likes the paisley pattern and he used to wear paisley shirts all the time back in the day. Not that long ago, he had a whole conversation about this with Kasey. Mana is Mana probably refers to how Mana had said that all the various persona he is on stage and elsewhere, no matter if male or female, are all Mana. The characters he portrays are all him no matter what gender they are. It appears that at least 2 songs are missing from the Merveille L'Espace live DVD. The 2 that we know of are Tsuyaku no Kakera and Shinobuto. We know this because of a released clip of a solo that Mana and Kasey play as a transition between these 2 songs. Again, I talk about this in my Lost Media of Visual Kei video. In a 2016 blog post discussing Kami, Mana wrote, "In Malice Mizer photoshoots he would turn over my skirt when I would wear miniskirts. Kami was a mischievous pubescent boy, it was an innocent type of act, so it was somewhat sweet. While recording No Pains No Gains, Kami used a welded pipe as an instrument. The early Malice Mizer was characterized by the concept of evil and tragedy. As Kasey said, we have been seeking something which lurks deep inside the human mind. In an early interview, Mana's message for the fans was, "A new sound echoes auditorily and visually. Welcome to the art of evil and tragedy." Yuki was in a cover band during his time in high school. They used to get together in one of the members' houses and play. They were playing so loud that the police came to visit them twice. Yuki theorized that their neighbors called the police on them. When Mana and Gect first met, they ate ramen together and didn't speak at all. They just observed each other. Each of them thought that the other was weird. Gect later spent the night at Mana's place and they talk about the concept of what is human. Kasey is dedicated to giving his autograph to everybody after the concert. In one incident, when a fan missed out on an autograph and went into a taxi, Kasey chased after the taxi and stopped it, just to give the fan an autograph. Sailor Moon is among Mana's favorite anime. Others worth mentioning are Barba Papa, Doraemon, Angelique and various shoujo anime and Gundam Wing. Mana is quoted saying in an interview, "This is my essential nature, my heart is 2 hearts beating as one, always. In particular, whether I wear woman's clothes or become a man, whichever, I am only showing my true nature. I typically feel I am exceeding male or female." After Tetsu left Malice Mizer, the band took a 1-year-long break to find a new vocalist. Yuki claims that during this time the other members asked him to take the vocals, but it appears that he refused. Years later he did do backing vocals together with Kami at some live shows. Mana-sama is in fact a god. Every Malice Mizer fan is required to have a shrine dedicated to him. Here is mine. I pray to Mana-sama 5 times a day. Ever since I started doing it, Mana-sama has been showering me in good luck and riches. If you don't have a Mana-sama shrine, you legally cannot call yourself a Malice Mizer fan. Sorry, that's simply how it works. And with that, we have finally made it to the end of the massive Malice Mizer Iceberg. That was quite a ride for sure. For the outro, I'd like to say thanks to everybody once again. First of all, thank you to Honey Vanity for making the first Malice Mizer Iceberg which started it all. Thank you to Amy at Gactology for making the gagged iceberg and providing explanations for all its entries, which I use as a source in a few points of this video. Thank you to Moss at Mossy Bossy Wossy for making this iceberg and for being an absolute awesome guy by helping me out with some entries. Thank you to Alexvandrya, Cantavanda and Canary Kasey for dedicating their time to record their cameos for my video. Thank you to Sakuga also for collaborating with me in the past. It's really amazing that I had the chance to work with so many great people during my time on YouTube making visual kei content. And last but not least, thank you to all of you for watching the video. If you made it to the end and are hearing this right now, I want you to know that you're absolute legends. So, as usual, thank you for watching, I hope to see you again soon, and goodbye.